We need to have a conversation here about AOC. So we're going to talk about a funding issue. We need to get into this discussion here. Now, shout out to Case Study QB. He clipped this. There's two things that we need to discuss here. Now, Case Study said discussing GOP ad hitting Representative Abigail Spanberger on defund the police and receiving $5,000 from AOC. So we're going to play this clip, and then I'm going to show you what is happening with AOC. And it's not just Abigail Spanberger. There's others as well. What is AOC doing with funding? But let's get into this defund situation here first.
Former CIA officer Abigail Spanberger is the target here, a group that's called Moms for Safe Streets. Take a look.
And Abigail Spanberger joined AOC's effort to defund the police. Spanberger sold out our brave men and women in law enforcement for a political contribution of $5,000 from AOC.
So what's the record there?
The record is that Congresswoman Spanberger is one of the, if not the most aggressive, vehement Democratic House opponents of defunding the police. She told her colleagues that it's ridiculous. She's asked them to never use that phrase again.
So let me break this down for you. So Abigail Spanberger, she's a Democrat in Virginia's 7th congressional district. What is happening is there's an attack ad that went out about her that she is pro defund the police. She's actually not. But the other part is true. And we're going to get into this part about her receiving $5,000 from AOC. So Abigail Spanberger is not a progressive Democrat. She's not a progressive at all. She's not a part of Justice Democrats. She's a corporate Democrat. So why is AOC donating to a corporate Democrat? And it gets worse than that. There's more about Abigail that you're going to find out about in a minute. So let's go on.
Former CIA officer, and before that, a former employee of the Postal Service's law enforcement agency. So again, this is fiction. And listen to what Congresswoman Spanberger has said about a bill that provides additional funding to police.
The Investor Protect Act would help get the job done of ensuring that police departments, particularly those like I represent in smaller and rural communities, have the ability to recruit and retain officers. This legislation invests in officer safety. It invests in domestic violence response training. It invests in funding the police departments like those I represent.
Does that sound like someone who is for defund the police? No, she's for funding the police. This is what she's talking about right now. She's advocating for giving the police more money. Let's go on.
So what does this ad base its defund the police claim on? Well, it misrepresents one of her votes. In small text, that tiny text you see at the bottom of the screen, it cites a vote she took in favor of a policing reform bill. That is not a defunding bill. It promotes changes to hopefully reduce police misconduct, does not cut funding to police, but this ad, without explanation, tries to cite it as a defund example when it's absolutely not.
So basically what is happening here is you have the Republicans trying to make it seem like any Democrat now, even someone who's a corporate Democrat that does not support defunding the police, like Abigail Spanberger, they're trying to make it seem like they're all socialists now. They're trying to make it seem like they all are support defund the police when the Democratic Party has spoken out against defunding the police multiple times. But this is what they're trying to do. Now, two things can be true at the same time. It could be true that they lied about saying she supports defund the police. But it could also be true that AOC is donating money to her. And not just her. There's more. I got to tell you, if you don't follow this site, please start following this site. This is from World Socialist website. I highly recommend that you follow them because they are more likely to reveal information that mainstream media is not going to tell you and that some independent media outlets are not going to tell you. Let's take a look at who AOC is funding. Like I said, it's not just Abigail. AOC funds CIA Democrats. Well. Now, let's get into this because I've been trying to tell people not to trust this woman. On Friday, Politico reported that New York Democratic Congresswoman and Democratic Socialists of America member AOC transferred $160,000 in campaign funds to a slate that includes CIA Democrats. Guys, I can't make this up. Right-wing congressional Democrats with intelligence and military backgrounds. And I'm going to show you the receipt too in a minute. Politico reported that contributions were unsolicited and were aimed to help keep the House majority ahead of a tough cycle. While Politico only lists Connor Lamb of Pennsylvania, Alyssa Slotkin of Michigan, and Carolyn Bordeaux of Georgia by name, it appears, based on the report, that AOC donated $5,000 to each of 32 frontline candidates selected by the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, the DCCC, in high-profile midterm races. Now, remember, Justice Democrats are not supposed to donate to corporate Democrats. And I got to tell you, if you donated money to AOC, it's possible that money could have went to them. Let's go on. Like I said, there's more. The list of frontline candidates include many prominent CIA Democrats whom the World Socialist website has identified as having been former representatives of the Pentagon and intelligence agencies. In 2018, the WSWS, published a 3-part series by Patrick Martin detailing efforts by the military intelligence agencies to flood the Democratic Party with loyal operatives. This is something those of us over at RBN have been trying to tell people about. And Nick is really good at this, by the way. Like Nick, he's gone over this a couple times on stream about the CIA tactics. And one of the things that they'll do is the stalling tactic, bringing up issues that are irrelevant or not relevant to the particular policy that's being discussed so that it never gets brought to the floor for a vote. It never gets voted on. It never gets passed. We tried to warn people that this was happening, that some of these people, they're ops. Let's go on. Beneficiaries of AOC's financial support include Alyssa Slotkin, a former CIA agent, Connor Lamb, Marine captain and military prosecutor, Tom Malinowski of New Jersey, an assistant secretary of state under Barack Obama, Abigail Spanberger, who we were just talking about, CIA operations officer, and Elaine Luria, Navy commander, both of Virginia. Mikey Sherrill, Navy pilot in the Middle East. And Andy Kim, advisor to the U.S. Military Command, Afghanistan and Iraq director for the National Security Council, both from New Jersey. And Jared Golden of Maine, Marine infantryman. So like I said, it wasn't just Abigail. Let's go on. Slotkin and Lamb have indicated that they will return the donations for fear their Republican opponents will associate them with AOC. You see how this works? Because like I said, these are middle of the road establishment Democrats. They are not or do not identify as progressives. So you see in that attack ad, That was on purpose. They put that in there to let people know, listen, Abigail Spanberger is in cahoots with AOC. So now she's made to look more like a socialist. Let's go on. AOC's financial support for the CIA Democrats is another lesson in the futility of all efforts to transform the capitalist Democratic Party into a vehicle for progressive social reform. By transferring funds given to her by left-wing supporters into the war chest of the CIA Democrats, AOC provides an example in financial terms of the fundamental political dynamic of right-wing Democratic Party politics. Far from moving the Democratic Party to the left, figures like AOC merely trap left-wing social opposition, disarm it, and transform it into political capital for the very establishment they claim to oppose. And I would add, you can add Bernie Sanders to this list. You can add all the other squad members to this list as well. This is what they are doing. So you see someone like AOC and Bernie Sanders, their job is to energize the young people, because one day the young people will be the boomers. Let's just be real. Their job is to energize and motivate them, because a lot of the younger people, especially Gen Z, they're less likely to buy into the two-party system. They're also less likely to vote. So what they do, you get someone like AOC who's young, who's a millennial, who can excite her own group, her own age group of people. And she runs on this, I'm a socialist, I'm a democratic socialist. I believe in all of these progressive policies. And at the same time, she supports the very same establishment that she is supposed to oppose as a Justice Democrat. That's how she maintains her position as a career politician. That's how she's able to stay in Congress. So she'll say a couple of things, progressive things here and there, but if you notice, when it really matters, she doesn't act on it. That's on purpose. When it really matters, she doesn't vote for it. When it really matters, she will vote present instead of voting no or yes when it can actually impact legislation. And that goes for all this money that they're sending to Ukraine as well. You guys see it? If you're new to my channel and you didn't realize this, do you see it now? Let's go on. Her support for the CIA Democrats undermines her claim to represent opposition to war. She is providing direct political support to individuals responsible for the U.S.-led wars that have devastated broad swaths of the Middle East and killed over 1 million people in the last 2 decades alone. Let's jump down here. AOC's support for a former top aide to Negroponte is significant, since AOC has attempted to present herself as a defender of the rights of immigrants, even blaming imperialism for forcing millions to flee their homes. Negroponte was U.S. ambassador to Honduras from 1981 to 85, overseeing U.S.-backed death squads, Contras, in the civil wars in Guatemala, El Salvador, and Nicaragua. He is an American war criminal responsible for facilitating genocidal campaigns against Central American workers and peasants. Why would she support that? I tried to tell people that she was not who she said that she was. Let's go on. This goes on more about Negroponte, and then it mentions Connor Lamb. She also contributed to Connor Lamb, a former military officer and federal prosecutor, in July 2018 as the Trump administration took children out of the hands of their parents to enforce its fascist zero tolerance policy. Lamb was one of several Democrats who voted for a resolution introduced by far-right Republican Clay Higgins praising immigration and customs enforcement, praising ICE. The resolution praised the brave men and women who enforced our nation's immigration laws and opposed calls to defund or abolish the American Gestapo agency. Now, AOC was one of the people many years ago that kept saying abolish ICE, but here she is supporting people and funding people who actually do not want to abolish ICE. This is, like I said before, those tears that she had at the border were fake. She's an actress. All of them have played people. I replied to one of her tweets earlier today and I told her, I said, give working class people their money back. Let's go on. This is a long article, but I'm not going to do the entire article, but there's certain things I do want to point out. Listen to this. After the Democratic National Convention in 2020, AOC and Senator Bernie Sanders and other left Democrats explained that socialist-minded voters must support the right-wing Biden campaign, promising that after his election, AOC and others would fight against the right wing of the Democratic Party. AOC advisor Corbin Trent explained at the time. So Corbin, he's another one that was with Justice Democrats. He was her advisor at the time. He's not her advisor anymore. Right now, what you're seeing is that we've got a common goal to be Donald Trump, but come January, we may have a different goal. They won the nomination, so they get to pick the game plan. Now, that doesn't mean that they get to pick the game plan in the midterms. When we start primarying their, I think he was saying asses there, and it don't mean that they get to pick the game plan when we start recruiting for 2024. We primary their asses. Do you see them trying to primary Joe Biden right now with Justice Democrats? Let's go on. This was also a fraud. Instead of fighting the right wing of the Democratic Party, AOC is supporting it financially and politically. Chris Hayden, spokesperson for the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, thanked her for the recent contributions. We appreciate AOC's ongoing commitment to the Democratic majority. They were never going to actually push back against the corporate Democrats in the party. They were never going to do that. And I got more proof of that today. In March 19th interview with the DSA's magazine, Democratic Left, AOC attacked socialist critics of the Biden administration, calling them privileged and bad faith actors. You see this? I highlighted this because you know who else uses this talking point? Maybe not the privileged part, but the bad faith actors. You know who else says this? People like David Sirota. Some of the other left independent media commentators. If you pay close attention, you'll notice the same people, the same commentators and journalists that run cover for the squad use their same language and talking points. Let's go on. She said socialist opponents of the president are denigrating Black and brown undocumented people by dehumanizing immigrants, calling the people who are now protected from deportation no one. In so doing, she shields the CIA Democrats from political criticism while continuing to present herself as a socialist. Say it again, one more time. She shields the CIA Democrats from political criticism while continuing to present herself as a socialist. She's a fraud. She shields them and she runs cover for them. And because she runs cover for them and the rest of the squad runs cover for them, some of the left independent media hosts run cover for the whole damn party. You guys see how this works? Well, we have to understand, and Rome brought this up and he's spot on. When you are criticizing people like AOC and the squad and Bernie Sanders, in a way, you are also criticizing Cenk Uygur and Kyle Kulinski because this was their project. And if you'll notice, especially if you see them on Twitter, they'll use these same talking points. Oh, these people attacking the squad. You guys are bad faith actors. Wonder where they got that from. From her. You guys see this? We got played. And I know I've been saying this. Those of us at RBN, we've been saying this for over a year. We tried to tell people after Force the Vote. But now it's more revealing. That's right, JB. She's a fraud. She's a psyop. Exactly. You see how it works? So what they do, if the squad says it's okay, if Bernie says it's okay, then they'll jump on board and say it's okay. But if the squad and Bernie and them don't support something or are not for it, they don't talk about it either. And I've seen that too with direct action. Because when we contacted all of them last year for those marches for Medicare for All, asking them if they could at least share the information on their show, with the exception of Secular Talk, the other ones didn't want to share it. Of course, Jimmy had the organizers on. He always has the organizers on when we're doing direct action. But you notice they don't? Do you notice that when we had that Julian Assange event, which I live stream in DC, and there were over 5,000 people surrounding Parliament? Did you notice which shows let those organizers come on their show and talk about it and which ones didn't? You know why? You know why some of them didn't talk about it? Because the squad didn't talk about it. Because the squad has not released, with the exception of Ilhan Omar, has not released a statement or opinion about Julian Assange. So they're not going to talk about, they're not going to support the action. They're not going to bring on the organizers to talk about the action on their show because they're taking their cues from Congress. That's how this works. And the squad still won't go on their damn shows. And this last part here, this exercise in bad faith politics typifies the historical role of the Democratic Party, which is to swallow up and then destroy any left-wing political movement that might threaten the capitalist system. A genuine socialist movement will only come in opposition to and independent of the two-party system. I'm highlighting this. Do you see what I'm saying? This is why I keep telling you, for those of you who do want to do electoral politics, it has to be someone who was not in the two-party system to actually have some type of a socialist movement. It can't be people who went into the Democratic Party. It can't be people, obviously, that went into the Republican Party. They're controlled opposition. All of them. And I'm sorry if some of you are fans, but it is what it is at this point. We're going to go to this PAC that she has. This is the PAC that is funding those corporate Democrats. Now, again, if you look at the website, Courage to Change, this is AOC's thing. Look, the Courage to Change PAC is our answer to that broken system. Officially affiliated with AOC, Courage to Change seeks to reward challengers and incumbents who display political courage, people who refuse to bow to establishment pressure, who advocate ferociously for working class families, and who have lived the same struggles as the people they seek to represent. This is the PAC that AOC has that is donating money to those corporate CIA Democrats. None of them fit this description that's on this website of the PAC. None of them. So here you have a PAC that is posing as a PAC that is going to fund progressive candidates to bring about change in the political system. It is actually funding corporate Democrats. So if you donated money to this damn PAC, contact them and ask them for your money back. Ask them for it back. This is bullshit. Now I have the receipt. Let me pull that up. Got to go back to Twitter. La-di-da-di-da. Well, that's the other case. This is the PAC. Let me share my thing here. Because I told you this is actually public information. They have to report this information. But see, most people aren't going to look into this. Courage to Change PAC contributions to federal candidates. So we have $172,000, over $172,000 to Democrats. And you can see the candidates here. And I'm going to point something out. Cindy, that's another one. I'm going to make this larger because I think the font is kind of small for you guys to see. So again, this is the Courage to Change PAC. This is AOC's PAC. And look at who she's funding with this PAC. So you see they all got the $5,000, right? There's Elaine Luria. There's Abigail Spanberger. And see, don't get me wrong. There's some people in here that technically identify as progressive, like Katie Porter. But Abigail Spanberger and Elaine Luria, again, these are the CIA Democrats. You see what I'm saying? Because I got to let you know, look, I told you, I don't come at this stuff without any type of receipt. There's Carolyn Bordeaux of Georgia. She got 0 now. Oh, this is for 2022. But there's more lists there. Courage to Change PAC. Yes, Terry, these PACs are some sneaky devils, 100%. See, when you hear about these PACs, you got to know who owns the PAC. Who is it affiliated with? Because you can just look at that and be like, oh, okay, whatever. But when you realize that's AOC's PAC, that don't make no sense. There's more. This is why we have this theatrics with the Justice Democrats. Now, I want to let you know, this news broke today. A lot of people have already talked about it. But even Ryan Grimm is calling them out. And it's not just him. Even David Sirota was calling them out today. Everybody's calling them out. Because that letter that we talked about last night about the Ukraine, the call for peace, urging Joe Biden to call for some type of peace resolution to avoid a nuclear war. This morning, they retracted that letter. That letter came from the progressives in Congress, and they decided to take it back. Now, look at this again. This is coming from Ryan Grimm, who typically likes the squad. Jayapal throws staff under the bus for the gentle suggestion of diplomacy to end a war, then pleads guilty to the greatest crime in Washington today, giving the appearance of agreeing with the other party. Letters suggesting diplomacy is withdrawn. And here's the statement here. So if you were on Twitter today, you saw this at some point or another, probably. So it goes on to say, Congressional Progressive Caucus Chair statement on Ukraine letter. Representative Pramila Jayapal, chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, issued the following statement on a letter sent regarding Ukraine. The Congressional Progressive Caucus hereby withdraws its recent letter to the White House regarding Ukraine. The letter was drafted several months ago, but unfortunately was released by staff without vetting. Pause. You signed the letter. You signed the letter. How long was several months ago? 2, 3, 4, 5? And you guys kept voting to give more money to Ukraine while you drafted this letter? So if you were against it, it doesn't matter if it was released without vetting. You signed it. Let's go on. Throwing the staff under the bus. As chair of the caucus, I accept responsibility for this. Because of the timing, our message is being conflated by some as being equivalent to the recent statement by Republican leader McCarthy threatening an end to aid to Ukraine if Republicans take over. You see how dumb they are? Like, seriously, how ignorant. Who gives a fuck? Most people don't want us to have this conflict. Are they actually talking to their constituents? Most Americans do not. We don't want the conflict. We don't want a nuclear war. So you withdraw a letter because a Republican agreed to the same thing you did? Let's go on. The proximity of these statements created that unfortunate appearance that Democrats who have strongly and unanimously supported and voted for every package of military, strategic, and economic assistance, I told you it wasn't just weapons, to the Ukrainian people are somehow aligned with Republicans who seek to pull the plug on American support for President Zelensky and the Ukrainian forces. This woman worried about optics. She's more concerned about how does it make us look that we agree with the Republican on this issue. So let's pull the letter. And I bring this up because of this. Everything I just revealed to you about AOC funding these corporate CIA Democrats with their own damn PAC. And the letter that just came, the statement that came from the World Socialist website. This is all a psyop. This is fake. They're not real. These people are not really progressives. They took people's money. They took your money. They took people's time canvassing for them. These people are never going to deliver for us. This is a joke. And I want to let you know, yes, I've been heavily critical of the squad, but I'm not the only one calling this shit out today. Not the only one. Just like that, they fold like a cheap fucking suit. Every time they fold, they give into any ounce of fear. You guys see what is happening here? They played people. All of us should call them out. I don't care who's doing it. I don't care if it's Jimmy Dore. I don't care if it's Crystal Ball. Every single person that is on the left should be calling their asses out. They've done this too many times. Now, what can you do about it? Because this is where the frustration comes in, right? We see the problem, but what do? They're already in office now. But they'll be up for re-election again. And if they're in your district, don't fucking vote for them. Encourage people in your district to primary challenge them. All of them. Pramila Jayapal, Ayanna Pressley, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, all of them, Cori Bush. Encourage actual working class people in your district to primary the fuck out of them. All of them. And if none of them are in your district, I highly recommend, this is Justice Democrats' website. Their contact information is right here. Here's their general email address, their press email address, and here's their fucking telephone number. So here's something you should do. And maybe if enough people do this, maybe it will make some kind of fucking noise. You can contact Justice Democrats and tell Justice Democrats to remove every single member of the squad off their fucking website and from their organization. Take them off. Take them off the goddamn site. They're not Justice Democrats. They don't stand for any fucking justice. Call them. Email them. Tell them. Take them off the damn site. Remove them from the organization. They don't even uphold to these progressive policies anymore. And you can use that letter, that retraction letter, as your evidence as to why they need to be removed. They're not supposed to be supporting war. I went through the principles, God damn it. I know what they're supposed to be doing. Call them. Let them know. And you can tell them I sent you. I give zero fucks. I really do at this point. They're clowns and they play too many people. That's something you can do.